Hi everybody, this is Rose of Sharon, and I'm back again with another movie review. This was one that my friend Bright Star Angie actually requested of me, and I'm a big fan of Chuck E. Cheese. Haven't been to a Chuck E. Cheese in forever, but when I was little, that was where all the kids would go, and it was a big deal. And of course, I remember the original animatronics and the newer animatronics that replaced the older ones, and just the renovations and redesigns that the company decided to use just to keep the brand fresh and new. And then there was this movie, and I thought, there's a movie. But the movie itself is about this kid, Johnny Rocket, who needs money for his parents' farm, or their farm's going to go belly up. And it's quite a lot of money. And having come from a Midwestern background, I can say that figure is accurate because owning a farm is actually very expensive. So, yeah, Johnny wasn't far off with his figures there. I love the songs in the movie. I thought the songs were great. I thought that Dr. Zoom's melody was very reminiscent of something out of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It had that same kind of vibe to it. And normally I don't like villains, but I have to admit that his song was very catchy, and it just seemed a lot better than the other songs that were written. And I think that was a product of the time too, because I remember growing up watching Jem and the Holograms, and the Misfits songs were always better than Jem's, even though I loved Jem. I preferred that she would win the day versus the Misfits, but I really think that the Misfits were misunderstood, hence their band name, but that goes without saying. The movie itself has a lot of really awkward puns, and it's kind of cringeworthy. It borrows a lot from Star Wars, and it feels almost like it's paying homage to Top Gun as well. There are quite a few 80s and 90s references, including the Buff Racers. They really remind me of the guys. I don't remember the names of the comedians, but they really bring back the nostalgia of the two comedians. They used to pump you up. I thought, yeah, they're making fun of that whole Austrian German stereotype that we're so used to seeing, and it's actually not true. But more often than not, your villain in that day and age was going to be German or Russian or somewhere, some Slavic nationality, Ukrainian. It just, yeah, more often than not, they would have that kind of Germanic accent, and it's kind of irritating. That stereotype is so falsely duplicated that it grows stale. But it was very predictable. But I think that the messages enclosed in the movie itself were very, very, very good, especially when the hermit teaches Chucky what he needs to do in order to win the race. And it was what my dad always told me. I thought, wow, well, that certainly hit home, and it's actually what I needed to hear. I am focused, and I know eventually I'll get what I want in my life. I just have to realize that not everything is going to happen right away, and growing up is trial and error, basically, and I'm learning how to do it on my own with the help of God. But I will meet the goal that I have in mind, and everything will eventually come to fruition in perfect timing. Of course, I have to be patient. Now, patience is the hardest part, but I really like the fact that the movie portrayed Helen and Chucky as being an item, and I like to think that they are a ship that I sail very proudly. And it was very obvious that Helen liked Chucky, and I thought, yeah, that's overt. But I always liked the fact that they were together, and I'm so schmaltzy, but They deserve to be happy. Um, let's see. It was very low budget, and it's rather sad because they could have done a lot better because they're a multi-million-dollar company that could have produced something a lot better, a lot more intricate than what they did. It really felt more like a Lost in Space episode than anything else. I like the super adventure or super awesome machine or whatever it was called, the warp pad that they had, the mechanism of that can teleport them anywhere. It teleported them to the planet where they would have to race in order to earn Johnny the money that he needed. And of course, it wasn't easy. And it basically taught that cheating is wrong no matter what the circumstances are. Losing isn't necessarily a bad thing. In order to become good at something, you have to practice in order to become perfect, but there's no such thing as perfection because we're all imperfect, and that's perfectly fine. Of course, it talks a lot about friendships and relationships, and people can come to amends and they can maintain a romantic relationship over time, because romantic relationships don't just happen. There can be an initial attraction, there can be chemistry there, but romantic relationships take work, and of course, I think that they did a good job in depicting that, even though that wasn't very obvious in the film itself. Like I said, the one thing I really like about the movie are the songs. I enjoy the songs, even Jasper's little country song, because actually that was hilarious. A Snowball's Chance in Texas. That was really quite funny. Because Jasper, he tends to be a nihilist and he tends to be pessimistic. He tends to be doom and gloom about everything. When everything seems, when all the obstacles seem to be mounted against them, but Chucky is the exact opposite. They're perfect foils for each other. As far as rating goes, I'll give it 3 because it's not the graphics and the design, the story. Yeah, I please forgive me. I wasn't really that impressed. I've seen better. Too predictable. But the redeeming factor of this movie were the fact that a lot of ethics and morals were portrayed, and they did it in a very good way, and not hitting you over the head. Well, except for the Zoom gas part, which is more of a PSA: don't do drugs, kids. Don't, no, bad. But it was done in a more subversive way that I thought, oh, that's a nice way to actually drive that home, without just coming out like President Reagan said, just say no. Actually it was Reagan's wife, Nancy, who began the whole campaign, and I remember this because it was beaten into my head. And honestly, I'm one of those people who, I am not a big supporter of hardcore drugs, but it goes without saying. As far as giving it a rating, as far as how many thumbs I give it definitely a thumb up. It deserves that because, like I said, it has the good quality. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's got this moments where it's rather funny. There are very cringeworthy moments in the movie as well. I think, oh, I mean, the puns are horrid, but beyond that, it's a movie that at its core teaches some very, very good values that all children could learn from. And I just, honestly, the more romantic part of me loves to see Henny and Chuck together, just because I feel that they belong together. And it kind of makes me long for Bose, for Jasper and Munch, even though I don't know what the heck Munch is. But nonetheless, they deserve love too. So give them love, darn it. But that's all I have to say. So until next time. Well, Pasquale. Actually, I should say Pasquale also, even though he's the owner, the one who started it all, the one who gave Chucky his beginning, if you read the origin and all that. But that's all I got to say about Galaxy Race 5000. And I shall see you around Camp By. Live long, prosper. Ciao, Tutti.